Hello. Gonna share a couple of projects with you today, 2 videos though, not in the same video. And unfortunately I realised that my webcam, although it is pretty good, it's not very crisp, so I'm back to my old camera which only allows 30 minutes. So I'm gonna do 2 videos. The first thing we're gonna do are these little mini folios, I think we'll call them. Bit of a story. So I watched, there was Michelle and Jessica and Laurel, Maggie, I don't remember who else, did a New Year's Eve video, and they had one of the Tim Holtz folios. And they all had one to decorate, and it was awesome, the ideas they came up with and how they were all so different. Angie was there too. Was she? I can't remember actually, because you know it was 11 days ago now. But I really wanted one, and I'm impatient, so I thought I'm going to make one. So my first attempt was I put together 2. This was a prototype, 2 folders. I just kind of glued them together, and what I realised is getting the file folders in the UK they're very expensive. They're like £12 for 5 plus postage. So I got these from, it used to be Staples in the UK, but it's just changed to something else, but it's the same stuff in there. These were, I think they were like £12 for 100, but they are super thin. So once I've made it, I actually realised they're not square, and I had a little play around and I thought, nope, I've obviously stuck this together wrong, so I'm going to try again. So I made a single one with just a single thickness, and I thought once I've decorated it, it will thicken it up. However, this is not square. And it actually wasn't my cutting. The folders are not square, they're not great. So I gave up on that idea and made a small one with just a sheet of A4 craft card. And I think it's 280 GSM. And it is an A4 sheet. And you need 2 of these to make one of these. So when I make these, because I'm using my scoreboard. Scoreboards do not work in centimetres. Although this is a centimetre scoreboard, the scoring lines do not line up with the centimetre mark. So I've actually put marks on mine. I don't know if you can see that. I've put marks on mine where the inches are. Now we're going to be using this, and I'm also going to be using my trimmer, which is in centimetres. So this is in inches, my trimmer is in centimetres. So for the purposes of this project, I'm going to be skipping between centimetres and inches, so please bear with me. What I have done, if you want to pause, the washi tape I used was rubbish. Just make sure you can see all of that. The measurements, this piece here is 2 inches or 5 centimetres. This distance here is 3.5 inches or 9 centimetres. This is 3.7 inches or 9.5 centimetres. This is 1.5 inches or 4 centimetres. This spine is 3/8 of an inch. This one is 2/8 of an inch. These little flaps here are basically whatever we have left, and you'll see, you know, when we get there. And my flap is 2.8 inches or 7 centimetres. Now, how I converted these was Google. So if I give measurements in any of my videos and they're not in the measurements you want, just Google it. You know, there's a calculator, and it's really, really easy to use, which is what I have to do. If you're asking me for the measurements, I'd have to Google it. So, you know, just nip onto Google, and there is a calculator for measurements. So I'm hoping this is not going to be too confusing, because I am going between the 2. I'm just going to leave that there for 1 second. So if you wanted to pause it and try and read my rubbish washi tape writing. Right, so the first thing we do is take our craft card, And I've got, it's a nice side and a not so nice side, so I put it nice side down. And the first score we're going to make is what will become the pocket, which is 2 inches. So that's here. And I'm just going to, oh, I didn't do a very good job of that. I'm going to score at 2 inches. And then we want 3.5 inches. 1, 2, 3.5, and we score again. Okay, so we've got our first 2 score lines. Now we need the first of the 2 kind of spines, and I made mine 2 of these notches, which is what is it? Hang on, there's 2/8 of an inch, a quarter of an inch. That would be then, wouldn't it? And then we want 9.5 centimetres or 3.7. This is where I'm going to kind of go towards the centimetres. So that's almost 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5. It's roughly here. Roughly here. It does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be spot on. And now this time I'm doing 3 of the notches, so that's 3/8 of an inch for this spine. And then we are left with whatever is left over for the flap. Okay, I hope so far that's clear. Before I bend it, what I do is I'm just going to spin this around. I'm lining it up with one of the inch marks, and I'm just going 1 inch one side and 1 inch in the other side. So that kind of gives us the size that our folio is going to be. So that's the scoreboard finished with. So now I'm just going to kind of reinforce all these score lines. And these are a little bit tricky to do at the spine because obviously you haven't got, there's not a huge amount of room. These. I think you're gonna, well, I hope you're going to like the next video. I had a bit of an epiphany, which I was quite pleased with. In fact, it doesn't take a lot to please me. Okay, now I'm gonna burnish these ones down as well, although we're going to cut some of this off, quite a lot of it actually. Okay, so how you want it is you want your small spine on your left. Let me just grab a pen, because basically we need to remove this and this and this and this. We just need to keep this flap here. Okay, so I mean I've been doing this with my cutting board, but I'm going to just do this with scissors for now. And what you want to do is make sure you're cutting on the inside, because you want your flap to not get in the way of your spine. So when this folds up, you want to have room for your flap to fold up and your spine to not be hindered by that flap. Now this is probably where I'm not going to cut very straight because I'm on camera. And I get a lot of questions about these scissors. They're not Tim Holtz. These are the X-Cut scissors. They're kind of, I suppose, their version of the Tim Holtz scissors, and I do love them. They are really good. Done a better job of that. You could use a craft knife for this to get an accurate cut. if you're as pants as I am with cutting out. Okay, so now we have pretty much the basis of our folio. So this side here is our pocket. So what I'm going to do, before I cut out the flaps for the inside, I'm just going to glue this down, and this is really at the end of its life. I do need to open my new one, but while I'm still getting something out of it, I'm going to use it. Okay. And the good thing about this is any trimming we can do at the end. So for example, this flap is slightly sticking out. We'll cut that off. That won't notice. We're going to make the folio today, and we're probably going to decorate it in the next video. What I will do is, to make it easier, I'm probably, if I can figure it out, I'll put this into a playlist. I've got a posh new mouse, look. So it's a sideways one. It's really cool. Stops your wrist aching. Okay, so we now have this. And what we need to do is make our flaps. Oh, I lied about the scoreboard. We need the scoreboard back. Okay, so I'm just lining this up with one of the grooves. This is the edge you want to line up, sorry. And I'm just going to do 1/4 of an inch again on there. And spin it round and do. You can see my cutting wasn't straight there. Line this up. Come on, line up. Okay. And 1/4 of an inch on that side. Now we really are finished with the scoreboard. Okay, so we have our little flaps ready for our. Now, depending on how precise your scoring and your cutting is, you do actually need to measure these flaps to get the exact size of the pieces you need. Now mine is just short of 9.5 centimetres, and they are both the same. On one of them was slightly different, so they are just short of 9.5 centimetres. And I made the flaps, I think I made each one 2.5 inches. Okay, so now we need our cutter and our second sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to just do 9.5 centimetres. This is where I'm switching between the two. 9.5 centimetres by 2.5 inches. And like I said, Google is fantastic for working that out. And what I'm going to do before I put my cutting board away is just double check that they fit, because I'd rather make them too long and then cut a sliver off than make them too small. Okay, so now we have these ready, and what I need is my corner rounder, and I'm going to round these two. And I'm going to round those two. Okay. And now can I use the Fabri-Tac? I think these are quite cute. I think they're going to be really cool when they're finished, and we'll, you know, probably make them together on camera. So I haven't decided how I'm decorating it exactly yet, but we'll come up with something. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to make sure, as I'm gluing this down, that it's not in that crease, so it's not going to hinder that spine. and you're just popping it on the end. You don't want to glue it onto your little, well, I suppose it's another spine really. I do this on the inside because, like I said, I like to be able to make sure it's not going to get in the way of that spine. And then this one. Thank you to everybody who sent me birthday wishes yesterday. It was amazing. It really was. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to take my rounder, and this will be the kind of closure flap. I'm just going to cut that. So, check it out. It's all nice and square. That's not very well stuck. Give that a little push down. That is the start of our mini folio, and we've got a little gap here because that's for, you know, for it to grow a little bit, because we are going to have some stuff in here and it is going to bulk it out a little bit, but I like them. I like them this size. I think they're cute. I think they would be brilliant for popping in tags and bits and pieces to either store them or to send out as happy mail. Oh, I suppose Nick's done one, hasn't she? Quite similar. Yeah, NictheBookSmith has done one of these smaller ones actually. So there you go. And also Michele Scott on the end, I think it's on Jessica's channel, kind of made a vintage file folder one, which you could check that out too. So there we go. That's the first one of these done. The next video, I'm going to show you my epiphany, and we're going to actually start decorating that because we do not have to make this folder. All will become clear. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it useful. I hope these measurements made sense. And like I said, I'm sorry that I have to flip between the inches and centimetres, but it's just using, you know, the scoreboard is in inches and the cutting thing is in centimetres, so I can't really do anything about that, and I'm not very good at maths. So I will be back with the next video very soon.